A good evening to all as we bring you our main event, the match of the week. It is one Taguig and Kaya Iloilo squaring off, two ambitious teams, one team out to stay in the AFC, the other, of course, out to make its AFC debut. And without a doubt, they are gunning for the title. So the marathon carries on right here for these two squads in the Philippines Football League 2024-2025 season. As you are catching this game on matchday.ph, so glad you could join us. Clara Manzano here alongside Dennis Lucindo. A big game here, we could say, Dennis, and simple as this, a loss will really be massive for either squad.
Well, with the league table being what it is, it's been a very exciting league so far. It's very tightly contested. Kaya, of course, is our reigning champion, but One Taguig is a team with ambition, and they have the talent to back that ambition. Daisuke Sato coming into their lineup from Davao Aguilas has been a big thing. There have been a number of players who've come in to replace the likes of Shrock, of course, Shrocky, who retired for the fifth time, and Kevin Ingreso, who's gone back to Germany. So tonight's match is going to be big.
Tonight's match is going to be big. Who will fill the shoes over the course of the season? Missing players. We've been getting answers actually left and right. And as we see, a win today for either squad will propel them to the top of the table, as we did see that Cebu had that golden opportunity also, but they had to settle for a draw, a close-fought one versus Loyola FC. But what else is there to look at, Dennis, when we take a look at the standings?
Well, of course, Stallion came out of their slump last night against the erstwhile first placer for our table, Manila Digger. But they're still there. They're hanging on by a very thin thread. And as you said, One Taguig One Taguig and Kaya with a game in hand have, with all 3 points, leapfrog Digger and leapfrog Dynamic Herb Cebu, who struggled against Loyola earlier. But Loyola has been the story of the past 2 weeks. They're on an upswing. Kaya is very resilient. I mean, given the schedule that they have with the AFC CL2 and the PFL, they're playing every 3 games, and that's tough, right? That's tough. But they do have momentum on their side. They got a surprise draw, or what many would consider a surprise draw against Jongbuk. And now they're going to be tested again tonight against One Taguig. One Taguig is a team that will put up a big fight.
And there you go. As we take a look at our starting 11 for One Taguig, it is a 3-4-3 formation here for the crew of Coach Giovanni Villagracia. Sokasa Shimomura will lead the way up front, and then there's Quincy Camarad, as expected, in goal. Facing his former team, not the first time though, but as you've said, Dennis, earlier, it is a stacked squad.
It's a stacked squad, and both of these teams actually have a very strong Japanese influence. So, continuing the theme from last Thursday's CL2, where Kaya and they had their players who played against a very strong Japanese side. One Taguig also has Hiraishi, Shimomura, and two Satos bookending that Japanese lineup. And we'll see when the Kaya lineup comes on. Kaya also with a very, very strong Japanese flavor to it, with Horikoshi, Komaki, and Yamazaki at the very least. There are a few other Japanese players on the bench. Of course, Park Yi-young taking a familiar spot on the right back. He did start the season playing the 6 and in the middle, but they found that putting him back to what has been his natural position throughout his career in the Bundesliga has paid dividends for Kaya FC.
No change at the back here for the crew of Coach Yu Hoshida. It's Patrick Dato once more. When we refer, of course, to that ACL 2 game, which was very competitive, and when we refer to Park, of course, he really got to change up that game. So let's see how he'll be able to fare right here. He actually played in that spot also versus Minjola and came on as a sub and added that extra dimension on the wing. As teams now are awaiting in the dugout, and it's your Philippines Football League action again in the 2024-2025 season. It's One Taguig versus Kaya FC Iloilo. We take a look at our match officials before this contest. There's Clifford Daipuyat, siya ang ating referee ngayon. Sila Chris Mark Nanyola at Relly Balila ay ang ating assistant referees all linesmen. Si Jasper Herarman ay ang fourth official. Ang referee assessor ay si Jeffrey Velez. And your match commissioner is Mr. Richard Canaban. As we see our team captains, it's Daisuke Sato and Odi Menzi. Nano Amita, the captain actually of Taguig, is on the bench. And last time around, he missed some action due to an injury. Well, let's see if he will possibly step in. But there is that depth, of course, when you refer to the both teams, as we've said, Dennis, as they're getting locked in at the moment and heading over to their final huddles.
Well, speaking of huddles, we're looking at the huddle of the referees now, and I was talking to a team owner before this game, and as of course, teams usually have their comments about referees. But the PFL, with the pool of referees they have, siguro by now alam na natin yung mga kiliti ng bawat referee. And Clifford Daipuyat calling this match is known to be one of the more no-nonsense referees among the PFF's refereeing pool.
Clifford Daipuyat, of course, an international veteran also who would travel over the course of national team or international breaks.
Alam mo, Claro, curious nga ako sa mga referee. When we look at their kit, they have different patches, and each of these has a different meaning. It speaks to their refereeing level, it speaks to their years of experience. I'm actually curious to know more about those different patches that the referees have.
In the case, of course, of an international referee, maybe we could presume that it is FIFA on the patch, or you name it. But something to look forward to, of course, as we carry on over the course of the season.
So kailan kaya tayo magkakaroon ng Filipino Pierluigi Colina? Diba? Yung kinakatakutan talaga ng kahit sinong player.
That's a very good question, actually. Feared for the right reasons on the pitch, of course.
No, feared and respected.
Respected.
But, Colina was known to poke a very strong finger into your ribs if you're not listening to him.
Just like a teacher, of course, trying to get you to pay attention, whether it be in tutorials or in class. As this match was kicked off by Tsukasa Shimomura. And Dennis Chung getting a start. Chung's career has really been hobbled by injuries. Same or similar could be said to Simon Ling, but over the course of this season, first play pa lang, took a knock to the face.
So with this 3-back that Taguig is playing, that puts the, of course you have your pinaka center back, right? But Shoma Sato and Daisuke Sato also have to play the role of a center back as well. Daisuke Sato, as we know, is a player who likes to get up and down. So let's see how much this formation affects his ability to get up into the thick of action, as he likes to do.
The cross whipped in by Naoto Hiraishi. I could say, looking back at the last PFL, when you look at can we call the yung OG dynamic duo or
Okay.
Japanese dynamic duo, Tsukasa Shimomura and Naoto Hiraishi. Shimomura punished a lot of opposing teams and ended up as a top 3 goal scorer last season. But now, with this quality, or all teams being quality, I think Naoto Hiraishi has really been able to stand out, showing us why he used to play in the 3rd tier of the J-League. But nothing to take away from Tsukasa Shimomura.
But the Japanese national who's impressed me has been Daiso Horikoshi of late. Last weekend we saw this beautiful goal from him where I think he juggled it on his knee and he volleyed to the top of the net. That was absolutely fantastic. And he's been consistent. That's something you have to love about these Japanese players. They're very, very consistent.
As Quincy Camarade got this, playing it over to Simon Lingbo.
A little dangerous on that pass because he was closed down quickly by Martini Ray.
Martini Ray often off the bench here for Coach Yu Hoshide.
It's nice to see him get a start. I was talking with Paul Tolentino a few weeks back, and he said because of the number of games that they have, expect that they will be rotating a lot of players in. And Martini Ray has been one of those players that's been earmarked for a little more playing time. And he has produced. When he comes on the pitch, he scored a couple of goals in this season already. And One thing is it's the exuberance of youth, and the other one is ignorance is bliss. Pumapasok ka sa PFL, medyo hindi mo pa alam, hindi ka pa nabubugbog masyado. Marami ka pang gustong subukan, and he does try. He does use his imagination a lot.
So, walang takot no sa galaw.
Wala pang takot,
no fear. Not afraid to make
Parang
mistakes.
baka hindi pa nasasaktan, hindi pa napupuruhan.
May mga enforcer ba rito sa One Taguig? I'll say, or maybe we could initially give it to Amarilla because of his frame.
Maybe Amarilla, maybe Shaw Masato is a big lad as well.
Tapos yung bodyguard nila, just to add to it, Daisuke Sato.
Daisuke brings a different kind of toughness. A little bit of the physical, but a lot of the mental toughness. He will play mind games with you.
Martini appeared to mishit that as it was collected by Camarad. But just to go back with this back three, when the Ascals, as they were called back in the day, shifted to a 3-5-2, 3-4-3, whatever you want to call it, Daisuke Sato is actually playing in that left center back position. And then there was Jerry Lucena at right center back and Rob Gear in the middle. I believe, or I like to think, Sato has that speed to play that position also. And you could say that veteran wits.
Well, the veteran wits, as well as the veteran right, to kind of have a bit more free reign with how he plays. No, we saw that the past couple of years with Shraki, where Shraki would tend to roam. It's just from Sato's position now, it's kind of hard for him to roam as much as he likes to.
Dennis Chung and Martini Ray dueling.
Dennis Chung, another veteran of the Philippine men's national team. So this One Taguig squad actually does have a number of names that have graced the Philippine men's national team roster over the past few years.
A hefty number of caps. Definitely maybe 200 plus if we could combine everyone's. That number goes down because there's no more Shraki, right? But
there's no more Shraki, but you have Bias who's played for the national team as well.
Also quite some years. And then if we do remember, Carly Demorga was actually signed by One Taguig.
Carly Demorga is on this Taguig lineup.
Yes.
He was called away on personal matters for a month. When he came back, we saw him hobbling a bit. But expect that when the league resumes probably in January, although we still do have a match week this coming weekend, that Demorga will be in that lineup.
Mr. Ace Bright, of course, if One Taguig did say that we could expect him soon. I assume you getting or a player coming back, you can't just plug and play like it's a video game, right? You have to train, get into shape, learn the system, get chemistry. As here's another look at that last incident. A collision between Naoto Hiraishi and Park Yi-young.
Well, something tells me that this is a system that Carly Demorga is very intimately aware of.
And with that, there's that expected chemistry with a great number of players he's played with actually in his national team career. Also a PFL veteran. But if we continue, Bias could not connect with Hiraishi. Kaishu Yamazaki. Shoma Sato whipped it back into the mix. So do you assume here the losing team, the Japanese players, will have to buy Japanese food for the winning team?
Probably a bottle of sake.
No gyudon rice bowls up for grabs, right? Just wanted to double check.
Well, you should try mine.
Right, I do remember you cook. When you were showing, when some of the crew, of course, got to have a meal with you. As this ball was overplayed, it'll go back to Quincy Camarad. So
this Kaya schedule has not been easy, no? They've been going in and out of the country, playing their AFC Champions League 2 matches. Before the season started, they played a Shopee Cup match. They play on weekends in the PFL. Next week, they're flying out again for their Champions League 2 match. That's got to be tough, and you have to be impressed with their resilience.
actually, what you said, just remove Shopee Cup, that's exactly what Evren Tasi of Cebu did say.
Yep.
Akito Saito got to send this one to safety. And if we can add also, in the case of Cebu, and maybe even for Kaya traveling to Australia, the weather, changing weather conditions.
Cebu last Thursday was playing in 0 degrees.
Yes.
It was Ortashi was telling us it went from snowing to raining to snowing, and that is the worst kind of cold weather you could ever experience.
Some people in Stalin Laguna last year who played in the AFC Cup did say that was really difficult. They were playing in the cold. It's winter in Australia, same time of the year, and what you said, rain. If it's snow and rain alternate, that's
If
cold,
if
cold
it's
version.
just snow, at least it's cold, but it's dry, right? If it snows and then it rains in between, beautiful control there by Martini Ray. And wow, One Taguig FC put up an insta wall on that goal line. There looked to be 4 players there putting their bodies on the line against what seemed to be 4 shots. Let's see this replay. Martini Ray, beautiful takedown, getting off a shot. Ball bouncing around in front. Second shot, that was the post. And the third shot, off Camerad.
Quincy and friends working in unison right there. Marwin, I believe they wanted to get it to Daizo at first. Omid Nazari cleared it. That's why Simone Rota will chase. It's with Patrick Dato. So Yu Orshide has been juggling keeper duties as we somewhat expected, right? Between Patrick Dato and Walid Baru. Dato, the keeper last Thursday.
And that's a luxury that Coach Hoshide has, to have 2 quality keepers. Walid Beru, of course, broke into the PFL scene last season and emerged as one of the best keepers of the league. Patrick Dato needs very little introduction. And as we say that, a light drizzle falling on this Rizal Memorial pitch, typical of December weather. So this is as good weather as we get in Rizal Memorial. But maybe that slight glaze of rain is going to slicken up the pitch and the ball a bit to provide a bit more action.
It could sometimes, or more treacherous conditions, of course. That will be an extra challenge to goalkeepers, without a doubt. Oli Bias. Omid Nazari. They ended up sending it to Ori Menzi, though. It's with Akito Saito, who was man of the match, actually, in that game of Kaya versus Sanfrecce Hiroshima. A 1-1 draw. As we saw, Jovin Bedic couldn't reach that. I believe he misjudged it. That's why Amarilla got it and got it over to Shoma Sato and So Oma.
So Bedic also a very versatile player. I mean, speaking of the Champions League 2 match, we did see him play center back there. Now he's playing left back for Kaya.
Oh, referring to Park Ki-young, right?
No,
Oh, wait. Akito Saito. He
No,
finished
sorry,
the game on right
Menzi.
back. Okay.
Menzi was a center back. He started that game as a center back. Now today he's playing as a left back.
Quite a shift those boys had to put in here as Lingbo. Son Oma wanted to get it to compatriot Tsukasa Shimomura. That was it. Kaishu Yamazaki. Daizo. We do not have to say Japanese connections anymore because it's almost automatic. Not just with Kaya, but also with One Taguig. And with that will get locals to raise their game, playing with bigger, stronger, faster players.
That's the beauty of the PFL. They get to be exposed to a lot of these international players who bring something very... Each nationality actually brings a little something different to the game. With the Japanese, I'd like to think it's a mindfulness. Aliw na aliw ako panoorin sila just warm up. Just to warm up. They approach the warm up with such precision and mindfulness. As we see Martini Ray trying to lob it over Quincy Camerad. I'm sorry, that was Daiso Horikoshi. Now it's Martini Ray on the ball.
Lingbo with the clearance. It's collected by the captain in Ori Menzi again. Daiso. Take 2, we could say. Shoto Komaki. He's Kaya's leading scorer this season, as this was off of Simon Lingbo.
Beautiful, quick drag and push with the sole of his feet from Shuto Komaki. And we see a difference in how these teams attack. Kaya, we've seen for the past few minutes attacking with numbers, and that might be the first breakthrough in this game.
And it's a corner for Daiso Horikoshi. In his last full PFL season, as we are aware, he already racked up awards, highlighted by the Golden Ball, which is the MVP, as this shot by Park was over the bar.
Park is going to want that one back. Definitely not within his standards.
And how often do we actually say that, right? But it definitely happens. Chance of Ona Kaya. Ultras Kaya here to the right of the broadcast camera. Last game, there was also quite an atmosphere with Frente, the fine group of Loyola, cheering them on. It was Loyola versus Cebu earlier.
Yamazaki tripped up there. Referee Clifford Daipuyat blowing the whistle.
And just double checking, of course, the last time Daiso competed a full season here. He was not just a Golden Ball winner, which is the MVP award. He was also the top scorer, or Golden Boot, with 15 goals to his name. As we continue to have our showers here. It's Park standing up now to the plate for this opportunity. We did have some showers actually continuously over the course of the morning. It stopped for the first game and carries on here as Park. Well, it was easily into the gloves of Quincy Camarad. If we look at the goalkeeping situation, Quincy Camarad is chasing clean sheet number 3. And I have to look at this again, because Kaya has yet to rack up a clean sheet in this season.
Well, Quincy Camarad is a keeper that we would like to see find his form. He's been in and out of the national team lineup, and he needs to find his groove, his stability. What criticism there has been of him is that he has a tendency to lack discretion on when to come out, when to challenge, and that's led to goals against Taguig. Kaya FC, because they've been rotating keepers a lot, they've not found stability there, which is why they've conceded goals.
Yeah, that's really confirmed. Kaya has no clean sheets yet so far in this season, but then again, they are still unbeaten. Simon Lingbo knocked it back to Shoma.
And because for most teams, we see when a starting keeper gets the starting keeper job, and he doesn't do anything, terribly wrong, they tend to keep that spot throughout all the games of the season. So the worst thing to be on a team is a third keeper. I mean, if you're the second keeper, at least
pwede pa.
There's a chance, no? Pag masaktan yung starting keeper mo, papasok ka. Pag third, you will see season after season without hardly getting any playing time.
As we saw Jovin Bedic hit the deck. It's a lot of power to deck a guy like Jovin Bedic, as we've said and witnessed over the years.
Medyo may laman tong katawan ni Jovin Bedic eh. Pareho sila ni Menzi ng katawan. Yung tipong pag napaaway ka, yun yung gusto mong kasama mo eh.
Choose your 5 PFL players who'd like to be with you in a bar fight. No, I'm just kidding. As Park. But here came Daisuke Sato.
In a bar fight, I want Jata with me.
Si Big Boy. This was off of Shom. I think Joven wanted a penalty. I will say I'll have Daisuke Sato with me. Pwede pa si Shraki. But talking about that goalkeeper situation, when you can compare, we could, in this instance with Kaya playing, there's Walid Peru, there's Patrick Dato, Quincy Camarad, definitely years younger than them. So not as experienced yet as them, but he has the chance, of course, to grow.
He is. And the goalkeeper position also isn't one where we see young players a lot. it takes a few years for them to mature into that position. Because as the last man on the team, there has to be that steadiness.
And with Quincy, he is 23 years of age. Not so sure if that was a nutmeg actually by Park as he found himself on the left. But it goes out, it's a throw in.
Because if you're Taguig FC, your other choice, and right now he's listed as an assistant coach, but I'm not sure if Ed Sacapano is still an active player.
Right, that was last season.
Last season he was an active player, and so from very young you're going to quite senior.
Because now Taguig has Henry Bandiken, who's very formidable in goal and has started for a number of teams also. And then at third choice, they've got Alvin Rebadulia. As it's a corner again, and as expected, it's Daiso to whip it in. One hand raised, right-footed delivery. They couldn't go for the back post.
Yamazaki could have gone for that initial cross. He checked his run.
So it's into the gloves of Quincy Camrad. And with this of Quincy Camrad, as a young keeper getting that opportunities to develop, he's picked up a hefty number of appearances as the U23, U22 goalkeeper of our national team.
So we're seeing this game developing a tempo which finds Kaya attacking with numbers and Taguig looking to counter.
It's actually quite a similar script when we look at Kaya and Taguig's matchup last PFL season. And so Kaya dictate play, and Taguig did not necessarily stay in a block like this of sorts with probing runs from time to time. They were forced to just absorb pressure, sit back. Joven trying to control this. Amarilla out of his line. Sooma got it to Omid Nazari, and Dennis Chung will give it back so they can reset. Shoma to Daisuke Sato, the two teammates for 2 consecutive seasons. But the second season, it's with Taguig.
Yeah, these Sato men look to have been a package deal coming from Davao to Taguig.
Oh, yung tawag doon last season was Sato and Friends.
Well, now it's Sato and Sato. But speaking of Davao, that was a breakthrough win and a disappointing loss by Davao yesterday against the Philippine Youth National Team.
As Dennis Chung got it to Naoto. And Patrick Data saw it was out.
It was deflected off Saito.
So a corner kick it is. But yes, going back, definitely congrats to the youth national team. But we saw something in Davao, right? That was definitely missing. Well, we've seen a number of corners go the way of Kaya. And now it will be a chance for Taguig.
Well, as the season has been going on, we saw two teams start really strong, and that's Stallion and Davao.
As they took the save at the near post. So Stallion and Davao, as you were saying, starting strong.
Stallion and Davao started strong, and then they both went through a spell, which Davao is still going through, of poor results. Kaya started shakily, so did Taguig, but they're finding their form. So, alam mo yung palitan sa taas, ang hirap pintahan kung paano matatapos ang liga natin.
And it's only the 4 spots, right, that will be able to advance. Top 2 will go to AFC competitions. And it feels like it's a 6-7 horse race for the top 4. Parang nagiging Royal Rumble eh.
Well, let's face it, Menjola hasn't been in good form lately. Youth national team is a guest team. They're a very young team. Loyola is on the rise. Loyola, I mean, the recent results, they challenged Kaya, but still lost 3-2.
3-2.
They won against Stallion. Now they drew against Cebu. So you have to face the fact that they're rising up. I don't know if they have enough to get to the top, but they will challenge for the middle. But among the top 5 teams now in the standings, any one of those could finish number 1.
It's definitely been a thrill of a season so far, and we are only about a quarter in or so, a little over, we could say. But in this game, almost 23 minutes done and dusted. Possession slightly going the way of Kaya FC Iloilo. But if we refer to the previous games of the two teams, if we could assess their form, yes, Kaya's last game was Thursday here, playing in the AFC Champions League 2. But in local play, a 9-1 win versus Minjola FC. They've been able to display their firepower year in, year out, as there's a player down for Taguig after taking quite a knack.
And that's a yellow card against Park Yi-young, who referee Daipuyat says put out an unwelcome arm into the back. And that player looks to be hurt.
Maybe Omid Nazari, actually.
Could be. Yeah, number. That forearm looked to have made contact with Nazari's left cheek, left jaw.
That hurts.
Number.
Yes, that's Omid. That's Omid with the number 91 jersey.
One of the highest numbers we've seen so far.
Wala pa nag-99. The closest 88 is Yamazaki. Also.
99 I haven't seen.
There is in the UAP. But this is the PFL, of course, which is the context of our discussion.
Of course, the higher numbers tend to go beyond the protocol of numbering, right? The lower numbers, we see 2, 4. These are typically reserved for backline players.
Yes.
6, usually with a defensive midfielder.
As there's an offside call here versus One Taguig FC. In blue again, in blue and white. Kaya FC Iloilo in black and yellow. Tapos pag sobrang mataas yung number, katulad mga 91, 88, mga linebacker sila sa American football.
Or in the UAAP, these are the rookies.
Right, that makes sense in line with like academy players or rookie
because
players.
single-digit numbers are desired.
Yes.
Especially 10. Or no, well,
The
10,
lower
10 is
digit,
double
right?
digit, right? But 10, of course, being Messi's number. But the 7s, the 8s, the 9s, those are the most sought-after numbers if you're an attacking player. If you're a defensive player, 2, 3, 4, 5.
And right in the middle, of course, there's 6. As there's Joven Bedic.
Keeper, of course, gets number 1 or 13, typically.
And just for the benefit of people who are new to football, you're welcome to watch. Walang 0 dito or 00. But if we mention Kaya's last or previous results, first, it was Shuto Komaki who led the way in that 9-1 win of theirs versus Minchola. But with One Taguig, a 4-0 W over the youth national team. And that that win of theirs didn't just feature a clean sheet for Quincy Camrad, but 4 goals. 4 different goal scorers behind Andres Aldeguer, Naoto Hiraishi, Junior Sam, and Solomon Okereke, who is giving Dini Wataro of Davao a run for his money with goal celebrations or dances. And Oli Biaz got to cross it in, but here's Patrick Dato to the rescue for Kaya.
Patrick Dato clearly calling for the ball, which his center back reacted to by ducking down so that he could have a clear catch of it.
There's that line of communication and chemistry between the back line and the keeper there. So Kasa Shimomura trying to put some pressure on Kaishu Yamazaki. Simone Rota. He's played against some big names during his time in Europe. Martini Ray calling for it.
All 40 years of Simone Rota
Since birth ba? Pag ganun. As you were saying.
No, I was gonna say all 40 years of Simone Rota still a presence here
Oh,
in the
yeah.
Philippines Football League.
So Casta shot here, ricocheted off a man of Kaya. And Dato wanted to keep it in to prevent a corner kick. A corner kick, yes, but that will be the case for Taguig. But with you saying all 40 years, so veterano, diba? Age ang tanong, Dennis. Ageless pa.
Well, what's amazing about Simone is that he did play last Thursday. Now it's a Sunday. He's playing today. At that age, with the kind of contact you get in the PFL and the AFC Champions League too, it's not easy to recover.
Yan yung kapalit because when you get age, you get wisdom. That's the counterpart. Or the downside. This one was whipped in a high looping ball off of Amarilla. Nazari tried to take it, or Park sent it here to the middle. It will roll out. Perhaps Lingbo will give Taguig a throw in a bit. Almost 30 minutes done and dusted in this matchup between One Taguig and Kaya FC Iloilo. You're catching this game on matchday.ph. And thank you for joining us. Alongside Dennis Lucindo, this is Claro Manzano. As we bring you the commentary for this match, Sato got it to Oli Bias. Now to Hiraishi. Earlier, Kaya FC did get its rhythm and control over the game. One Taguig trying to do so now. Ori Menzi gets this. And Dennis Chung with his gulang, we could say.
Well, his gulang was very visible. Very visible where was his left leg going across the back of Odi Menzi's legs.
Thank you for reminding me. Part of it, right? Dapat hindi masyadong halata.
Yun yung magandang gulang. Yung simple lang na hindi kita. Like in basketball before, si Chris Chu dahil baby-faced, pogi. Pag manggulang yun, tapos pag nahuli siya, ha? Ako?
Stereotypes, as we say.
Here in the PFL, the referee believes nobody.
Especially with all the names we've been highlighting, yung mga veterano.
Oh, yes.
Especially when it's Clifford Daipuyat who's the referee. Quincy will look to play this one now.
Because the thing with the referees is a lot of them I remember as having played at one point or another. So lahat ng mga gulang na yan, alam nila yan, nakita na nila yan, or baka ginawa pa nila yan ng player sila eh. So,
been there, done that.
oh, or as they say, been there, been that.
Looks can be this evening also. Naoto couldn't get it because Akito Saito was there. Amarilla turned out to be successful here. So in the midst of all of these, or a great number of these Japanese players and Filipino players, there's Amarilla, who is Argentinian and actually played for their U23 national team. It's not every day we get internationals or national team players to play here in the Philippines Football League, but all part of the growth again, as we've said. Especially, for example, with Manila Digger, there's players with national team experience from Gambia, which is in Africa. Park Yi-young.
So isn't Gambia where our former national team coach
Yes,
went?
Coach Tom.
Coach Tom St. Fielt.
Odi Menzi. Daiso got this, trying to control it against Amarilla. Omid's clearance came off, but it eventually led to a shot here for Kaya. That was off target, but just by a bit.
So if there's a baby-faced assassin in the PFL, I think Daiso Horikoshi would be a candidate for that. You look at him and he looks like a anime character. Looks very non-threatening. He smiles. He looks very disarming, but he pulls off these snapshots, which are anything but friendly.
As they try to play Daiso here. Last season, I remember Jing Hamlang was saying the same thing about Shuto Komaki. You look at his build, akala mo, he's just an easy player to knock down and all of that. As there's a prime example right here.
Ayan, si Kumaki, isa pa yan, di ba? Mukhang harmless.
Well, when you see Martini, of course, he's someone you should fear. Sa dating pa lang. As all the shot got blocked.
So you're saying Martini looks harmful?
You know that feeling? Gagamitin ko yung basketball sa kalye terms. When someone comes, you know he's gonna drop 50 tonight. Yan. Nandun yung swag, nandun yung angas pagdating. Alam mo mananalo na.
Well, that is a swag that he developed in the UAAP. He terrorized many of his opponents. Well, there are certain players when they develop a reputation, pag dribble pa lang nila papunta sa'yo, medyo atrasado ka na eh.
Coach Yoshide showing us, of course, when he once played in the UFL back in the day. You see these videos sometimes also of coaches who are former players, right? They control the ball well when it ends up going to their technical area.
I regard him as the expressionless Yu Hoshide. Very, very zen. He's very, he looks like he has the demeanor of a seasoned samurai, Kahit anong mangyari sa harap niya, ganun pa rin yung mukha niya, hindi nagbabago yung mukha niya.
Kahit yun, no? Daiso getting floored.
Yep, wala.
Coach not crossing his arms now, though. But, there you go.
Okay.
Ay!
Off camera.
Unfortunately.
Engaging.
Yes.
Coach Yu Hoshide engaging with the fourth official.
I just wanted to add, actually, when some games as an announcer in the previous year, when coach has a word with the referee, you could see that grit in him.
But there's a sense to it eh. Siyempre yung mga coach na alam na ng referee na mareklamo, they tend to tune them out. Diba? Those na usually tahimik lang, don't engage with the referees. Pag kinausap sila, parang, ay, may sinasabi pala sa akin.
Something's up.
Diba? Something's up. Mas napapaisip yung mga referee pag ganun.
As Park resume play with a throw-in. It's with Saito. Simone Rota. This is one thing also with Kaya's back line. They are so deep, or they have a great number of quality defenders, and they get to rotate them. We don't even see Marco Casambre with them right now, but I presume that it's because of injury. But you get me, of course. Hassan Omar driving traffic now. Options left and right. Park couldn't get to it. Naoto Hiraishi wanted to take it. Park easily said no. Shuto Komaki picked that up. I believe there was a shin guard also loose on the pitch. Close to the fourth official's table. As here comes Shuto Komaki. Trying to send it to the middle. But Jovin gets it. Quincy Camarad with a super stop. But Jovin is down though and appears to be hurt. What a spell here. Quality football.
Quincy Camarad's got to be very happy with that, although it looks like he's picked up a knock also. But reaction, Xavier just putting up his left arm enough to get in the way of that Daiso shot.
It's the behind of Quincy that is bothering him. He is signaling.
So you were watching him closely?
Oh, he was signaling right there.
Okay.
You and I are in front of him.
Okay. So showing some discomfort with his hind quarter is Quincy Camarad.
Understandably, play will be stopped. And Jovin back on his feet quickly.
Veteran physio Ana de Mejillo quickly out to the pitch. Si Ana, UFL days pala nakikita mo ng patakbo na siya. One of the faster PTs to get on the pitch.
That's a good sprint race if there's a PFL All-Star
I
week.
would like to have a special event.
Oh yeah.
A sprint between the PTs.
Gagawin ba sa track oval here in Rizal or maybe on
Wag
the
naman,
pitch?
siguro 50 yards lang. Hindi
50
naman ganun
yards lang.
kalayo tinatakbo nila.
Or it can be sideline to sideline, something like that.
Yeah, my money is on Ana de Mejillo in that race.
I just wanted to add now that we're talking about that. I do want to see the goalkeeper wars because the local pool is so deep. National team, PFL, just like how they do in or used to do in Major League Soccer. Oh, they still do it. I believe. Sato's defensive header, but it was collected by Park. I know Park is very careful now with his experience with snatchers, right? So that has also helped him with the maturity of his game, which was very mature already, right?
So he's more meticulous in keeping possession of the ball and his other possessions.
Cell phone on your left, wallet on your right, or vice versa.
Nandito naman tayo sa Rizal Memorial, wala tayo sa BGC.
So pero kahit nandito sa Rizal Memorial, be alert.
No comment there, but thankful for our games being hosted here at the Rizal Memorial Stadium.
It's a lovely venue, of course, where we have our international games. So many memories here already. A fixture in Philippine football.
You know, pretty much every memory. Although Panaa did host some memorable games.
Yes.
Did you know that Real Madrid has played here?
Really?
In the 70s, they were in a off-season tour. And they played one game here. And they played another game in the Ugarte Field.
I remember hearing of the Ugarte
Do you still
Field.
know where the Ugarte Field is, Claro?
No, I don't. Sorry, Dennis.
It's the Ayala Triangle now.
Okay.
Where Ayala Tower 1 is, there's a park there, right? There used to be a football field
I see.
in the middle of that called the Ugarte Field.
Some rolling over here from Saito and Sato. No, not
Nothing.
Sato.
Referee Clifford Daipuyat uninterested in those theatrics.
It was Omid Nazari. Yung theatrics o gumulong, di ba?
So this is Marwin Angeles here, right?
Yes.
Support to Daiso. Daiso finding his way through two blue shirts. Speaking of blue shirts, what do you think of the Menjola blue? It confuses me.
I'll admit it does. I am aware that red and white are their colors. I'd like to find out the answer, of course, from their staff.
I always confuse them with Loyola when I watch them nowadays.
Makes sense why.
But Kaya, of course, in their trademark yellow and black. And it's a combination that they've owned for a long time.
Park over to Shuto. Got it back. Gets clipped as expected. There's a whistle. Less than 5 minutes remaining until injury time here in the first half, and we are still goalless. But do you see the game is pretty even, Dennis, or one team having the upper hand over the other?
It's been pretty even, but I hope to see the stats soon. But it looks like Kaya has had more shots on target.
Lingbo easily collected and calmly controlled it. So Kasa Shimomura was clearly marked. Yakito Saito wasn't happy with that delivery.
Shimomura was clearly marked, and Simon Nerota made sure to leave a mark as he was defending him.
Hindi naman tattoo, no?
Hindi naman. Pasa lang.
Okay. Shuto Komaki in the middle. Trying to switch it to Daiso. But there's Lingbo again to get the stop. Aldi Menzi collects.
Ooh.
Dennis Chong. Could you say he rammed him?
Well, Clifford called play on. Well, sorry. Yeah, play on with that because they kept possession
Advantage.
until that wayward pass by Marwin Angeles.
When he was Spark, I'd like to think that's why he plays right back now. His usual or natural position. Martini! But it's not enough here to stifle Quincy Camarad.
Diba? Yan ang nakikita natin kay Martini lagi. May tapang ng bata.
That's a very simple way to explain as opposed to how I did earlier.
No, because when you have a few years of experience, the bad effect of experience is jadedness. See, Martini Ray, he still plays with the exuberance of youth.
Which you mentioned earlier, no fear to go on the list. Not afraid to make mistakes. Similar also. But it'll continue with one Taguig trying to carry on in the attack. Daisuke Sato. Dennis Chung whipped it to Simon Lingbo. Lingbo to Chung. Chung crosses it low. Park couldn't get it. Omid Nazari, the fake. A number of fakes here. Takes it. It came off a defender though. Corner again. But is that too much dribbling?
Too many fakes. Too many fakes. He over-faked to the point where he didn't have a clear opportunity anymore. Maybe after one fake, he should have taken the shot. Because in that position, what you want to see is a shot.
Too many fakes. The defense might stop biting. But they didn't. There were still enough numbers in front of him. There's still a player down for Kaya FC. As we are awaiting a corner from the further end.
Yes, after his first fake against Saito, he might have been able to take up a shot.
There isn't a fixed hard and fast number, right? Normally
No.
just one fake, but definitely not four, right?
But the flip side of it, he was also reacting to Park getting in the way.
Park definitely somewhat tough to get past as it was sent in. But return to the left wing. Bodies clashing. Daisuke Sato took a fall. They were trying to get it forward to Amarilla, who's still forward because of the corner. But it's a counter attack. Sato still down, but there's eventually a whistle. I believe there is no foul in the middle. It was to stop the play for Sato, who was down.
Well, it looks to be a foul on this side. And earlier we were talking about coaches who complain too much and the referees tune them out. This season we've seen Daisuke Sato play acting a bit too much. And referees remember these things. Although Marwin Angeles might have caught him a bit. But that's the thing, of course there's the fable of the boy who cried wolf, right? And I think that's the lesson here. When you do something a bit too much, you run the risk of being tuned out.
Yes, we have 3 minutes of additional time. And there you go. It's signaled by a referee. But a whistle again. Confrontations. Shokasa Shimomura was pushed away by Akito Saito.
Because Shimomura was getting into it with Yamazaki. So it's going to be a duel among the Japanese samurai.
Oh, this is the shin guard, I think. Akito Saito returning it. Returning it or showing what was knocked away from him. Well, regardless, friendship over for these guys for 90 minutes.
Again, the physio coming on for Quincy Camarade. So that's twice he's taken a seat on the pitch to draw attention to his need for treatment. And that hip or that bum.
So referee Clifford Daipuyat had a chat there, the pair of Akito Saito and Tsukasa Shimomura.
Pero kung nagmumurahan na sila yung Japanese, baka hindi sila maintindihan ni referee Clifford Daipuyat.
Ay, wala na tayong translator dito, no? I know. Yung mga off-duty na PFL player, nakapon. But I'd like to ask that question. What happens in that scenario, right?
Well,
at least we know football's a global game and makes everyone friends. That's a problem maybe for next time. As we say that, there's a throw-in one by Kaya as they are continuously trying to get forward. Martini got it. Amarilla was able to get to slide to it first, but Marvin Angeles skied it.
so you see in that situation there was a bit of, the ball pinging around, and that wasn't the best shot, but at least it was a shot. Right? On the other side, you had Nazari, a few fakes, and ultimately, when he shot, it was snuffed out.
Yeah.
So when you go on attack, you do want to see a punchline, which is a shot.
As Quincy resumes play here. Who are the leading scorers again for our respective squads? It's Naoto Hiraishi and Junior Sam for one Taguig with 3 each, and then it's Shuto Komaki, the outright leader actually of Kai FC Iloilo, and he's actually in joint third in this entire tournament. Spark knocked this back to Dato. Dato out to clear it. Daisuke Sato.
Ooh.
Alright, to Tsukasa Shimomura.
Park leveled. So
No foul there.
no foul there, and Park is on a yellow. If we could get confirmation of that Park already has a yellow card in this game.
I do recall he got a yellow also earlier. But when you see a scenario like that, you try to attack the same player, hope for a lot of fouls or hope for a hard foul. Because he's on 1 already. Make it 2, down to 10 players.
Yamazaki's challenges flying in with a little bit of extra. So that's another flashpoint to watch in this game. Park and Yamazaki.
This one was played long. And Sato winning the foul here. As you shake your head, Dennis. But we're actually in the 4th minute already. Some time was added on because of the stoppages here and there. But there you go. Goalless after the first 45 minutes. But it's been some great football. One Taguig and Kaya Iloilo have been putting up a show right here. They've been leaving it on the pitch. And we cannot wait, of course, to see what else will be in store right here again in your Philippines Football League action.
Taguig FC, nil. Kaya FC Iloilo, nil. The Philippines Football League 2024-2025 is under the supervision of Games and Amusement Board. We thank you all for coming today and encourage you to visit the Philippines Football League Facebook page and the official PFL website, pfl.org.ph, for more details on the Philippines Football League. The passion, the power, the Philippines Football League on the rise. Use the hashtag PFL 2024-2025, hashtag PFL on the rise, hashtag support local football.
Back at the Rizal Memorial Stadium again. It is halftime between Taguig and Kaya Iloilo in your Philippines Football League action in the 2024-2025 season. Goalless as we speak. Well, we've been seeing quality football from the two squads. Kaya sees the initiative in or from the get-go, as we see. The Quincy Camera, the busier keeper of the two. Patrick Dato has had to stop a number of chances also from Taguig. And as we say that, of course, here's one of them when he did get busy, when he referred to Dato. Not necessarily back and forth action, but both teams have been able to break the others' defense down and also creating scoring opportunities.
Kaya's chances have been more on target than Taguig. Taguig has threatened, but their shots haven't been on goal as much as Kaya has been. And as we saw in that graphic before the half ended, possession was 56% in favor of Kaya FC. So there's 45 minutes to have a breakthrough in this game. And again, what is at stake? First place in the league before, at least a week before we go into the Christmas break and the Mitsubishi Electric Cup break.
That is something we cannot wait for without a doubt. But first, here's the statistics in this contest so far. And because of what you said, Dennis, or the picture, of course, paints itself. More shots going the way of Kaya FC. 6 on target here. And as we've said, Quincy Camera, as a result of busier keeper, teams have had a number of corners. 8 fouls also in the first half. And we've seen a yellow card, which was against Park Ye-young from what we saw earlier. But the numbers seem to favor Kaya FC.
They do, except for corners, of which Taguig has had 4 corners to Kaya's 2. But six shots on target to the 1. That's a very glaring difference. But regardless of the shots on target, none of them have found the back of the net, which is why we find ourselves at the second half whistle with the score still tied 0-0.
It is all to play for here as Jovin Bedek will kick off the second 45 minutes right here. And the showers did stop earlier, but they are actually back, but at a much lighter intensity here at the Rizal Memorial Stadium, which is in the heart of Manila.
Yan ang senyales natin na palapit na ang Pasko. Yung ganyang ulan, na may konting lamig ang hangin. Weather is... Actually, the temperature is pretty nice, pretty pleasant tonight in the Rizal Memorial Stadium.
And hopefully, or what we've seen so far from that is quality football.
Because as a football player, this is... as a Filipino football player, these are ideal conditions. During the day, pag mainit ang araw, this artificial pitch we have in Rizal Memorial will retain heat. So this sort of drizzle kind of helps cool the pitch. When the pitch is cool, then your feet are cooler.
As it's a foot race now on the right. Naoto sending it. Shimamura couldn't connect though. Great presence of mind from Audi Menzi to duck and let that ball out. What a quick start here, and Taguig looking to threaten. Their fans on the left, actually the camera, are cheering them on. Well, here's a look at Shimamura's take or attempt. Did he mishit it or was his footing off?
He looks to have jumped a little too early. So he found himself too far over the ball. But Taguig with the first attack of this second half. So maybe Coach Giovanni's talk in the locker at halftime spoke to that discrepancy in shots on target.
Amarilla send it over here. Park. Under a side to deck by Shimamura. Patrick Dato having to escape danger. The pressure from Tsukasa. And Patrick Dato not happy there. He wanted or expected better support from his defense. Daisuke Sato getting to move forward also. It's Ito Olibias, but Shuto Komaki locks down the space. As Daisuke Sato again able to get forward. What we've seen from that is that they would leave Shoma Sato and Amarilla at the back. Omid Nazari and Joven Bedik were getting tangled with one another.
But Bidik did give a "it's okay pare" tap on the back to Nazari.
You could say that respectful competitiveness, right?
Which is what we like to see. Even when you're playing on the pitch, I'm sure you want to see an opponent that takes it to you, but that tests you.
Yeah, also with that, well, we did say respect and everything, or game respects game. Akito Saito did get to hinder Shimomura there.
Well, bago matapos itong larong to, mukhang may mangyayari dito kay Saito at Shimomura kasi meron silang mga bigayan eh. Maya't maya may bigayan yung dalawang yan.
Something is brewing. Is it gonna boil? We'll find out. Saito tried to play Bedik. And is already out, but you gotta credit Bedik for trying. Rather than give away a goal kick for Camarad, Bedik made it a throw-in from deep, so Kaya will look to press.
Park doing exactly that.
He switches it over. Orimenzi saw Oma, but there was no teammate there in an advanced position. And so Rota collects and will give it to Yamazaki, who is their playmaker here. Rota knocked it back to Dato.
Dato playing with fire there.
We are aware that Dato is very confident with his feet. But there was the Philippines-Nepal friendly, which was last year. Coach Dato was actually the man of the match. Coach Hans Weisden did say credit to Patrick's confidence, but there was overconfidence also. As Oli Bias is getting through. Still with him though. Rota's trying to chase him down. Referee played advantage. Another fall here. This time it's Saito. Chance now. Dato with his super save now. Simon Lingbo from distance, but Patrick Dato was there to come up with the stop.
That was a beautiful layoff by Amarilla. Flicked it between his legs.
What a spell there. Both keepers have been able to give us a show.
So a shifting of the pendulum in the start of the second half. One Taguig threatening Patrick Dato's goal several times in the span of 5 minutes.
Omid Nazari knocked it back. Amarilla sends it for Quincy. Just let it go through. Dennis Chong. Simon Lingbo. That's that ADT connection, we could say. But as we say that, Odi Menzios getting forward. Taizo Horikoshi. Taizo over to Shuto Komaki.
These tantalizing crosses from left to right and right to left between Komaki and Daizo. That's been a recurring theme in the past few games of Kaya FC.
But there, the spell ended because Martini was not in a wide position to get that ball, or the ball is possibly overhit also. All the action we've seen, and we are only 6 minutes into the second half here. It's one Taguig again in blue and white. Kaya FC Iloilo in black and yellow.
When you see crosses like that, yes, it's evidence of the quality of those players delivering the cross. But it also says that the opponent might not be providing enough pressure. They have too much time on the ball. It's not easy to cross the ball the width of the pitch or diagonally. You need technique, but you also need time to be able to do that.
With one side being loaded, you'd hear players, of course, call for that switch because there's less coverage on the other side. Sato and Nazari were not on the same page. But eventually there was a collision, and it's a foul versus Taguig. The winner here will essentially elevate to top spot. And there is a big difference between finishing number 1 and number 2 right here in the PFL. Number 1, or the top team after the double round robin, will go to the ACL2 group stage.
Straight away, yes.
And number 2 will go to the qualifying playoff of the ACL2. So that will be at least an extra game at the least.
Well, in this season, they didn't have to play a qualifier because there were 5 teams, 4 go up. The 5th team was a North Korean club who ended up not participating at all. So it was a pseudo-automatic spot into the ACL2, which was enjoyed by Cebu FC.
But when looking back at the previous ACL or AFC competitions, whoever lose, or if you lose the qualifying playoff, you somewhat get relegated to the next competition below, which is the AFC Champions League in this scenario. But there are teams who take part in the AFC Challenge League qualifying playoff. If they lose, sorry to say, that's all for them in international competition when it comes to clubs or local teams. So Oma returned it to Daisuke. Olibias hits the Jets here. Shimomura. Intention was right. Execution a little unideal.
Poorly weighted from Shimomura to Olibias.
That is why we have this park throw in. On Thursday again, Kaya FC will travel to Sydney. That is to take on Sydney FC. As it's with Hiraishi. Lovely shift there. Dato saw this was already out, but Kasa Shimomura could not meet it. But that's the quality of Naoto Hiraishi we were talking about.
Patrick Dato seems to have difficulty with those types of balls. I mean, that's the difference I'm seeing between him and Wally Biru. These crosses that come in, something tells me he's a bit unsure about it. He's certainly not as decisive as Wally Biru has been in those instances. Patrick's advantage over Biru is his feet.
Yes. Also, when not just with his feet and helping build up, but with those low volleys, of course, trying to play a teammate, play quick and sharp. But just to add, of course, with Kaya taking on Sydney FC overseas on Thursday, as there was that foul from Olibias against Shuto Komaki. This Thursday, it will be Cebu's turn to play at home. It will be the last ACL2 group stage or last ACL2 game here for the year. They will be taking on Selangor as we have passes completed, 133 for Kaya, 112 for Taguig.
And among those 133 passes are combinations between Komaki and Horikoshi. Long distance connection. Bias very brave into that header. Sato will just see that ball go out.
There's the throw in to resume play. The last time these two teams met again, it's actually the first time with One Taguig being a new team, right? But with veteran players. They figured in a goalless draw. And that goalless draw was not enough to really hinder Kaya FC's chances at the title, because Kaya was almost perfect. They eventually went on to stay invincible in that campaign, as it's a foul going Kaya's way.
So the other variable that is involved in participating in the AFC Champions League 2 is your club license. So One Taguig does have a club license, but the AFC has a requirement of seeing a minimum number of years straight that your team is participating in the league, not the cup, but the league.
The league, yes.
This being just the second season the AFC requires them to play in the league straight until 2027. 2027 is the first time that they can have the opportunity to participate in the AFC.
But if you consider that, this is plenty of talent they have already, as Martini couldn't drill it. And Shoma sent it to safety desperately. But Quincy coming up with another big save.
So Martini Ray making the most of his PFL opportunities.
A chance, of course, to show coach that he deserves to be in the starting lineup on a regular basis. And Martini Ray's not just college teammate, but his, you could say, a childhood teammate. They go way back even as kids. Sherman Basindanan, he's on the bench.
Well, that's another quality player that Coach Yu Hoshide has at his disposal.
As we see this now, it's a slow setup for a corner kick of Kaya FC. This crew will definitely like to maximize this. We've also seen a number of distinguished names right here at the grandstand to catch the action. So Boss Dan Palami also, and Alex Moniz, a member of the national team.
So the build-up of the national team is starting. Maybe Alex Moniz is one of the first foreign players to make his way here. Strong challenge there by Dennis Chung.
Shuto found a way to get it to Akito. That's why here's Kaishu Yamazaki. Martini! Quincy again to the rescue. Shuto Komaki somehow just got to the middle quickly. Simone Rota. Angeles got it to Daizo. Daizo tried to take a crack at it. But here was the back line. And that was Amarilla. Orimenzi. And the defense says no again. Marvin slid it over to Park. Park the long ball. Lingbo to chase along with Audi Menzi. And what does our referee say? Corner kick on the other side, it seems. Well, here's a look at that spell, or this spell from Kaya.
Strong challenge by Dennis Chung. But Saito even stronger. And here, again, Martini Ray finding himself in shooting positions. That is a skill unto itself.
Is there that frustration kicking in with the quality chances he's gotten? Still no goal on the board.
Well, if this scoreline holds with the number of shots they've gotten on target, and if this scoreline holds, I think Quincy Camarad is making a case for man of the match honors, as we see.
It's Omid Nazari.
Omid Nazari. Patrick Dato well positioned. The score is 0-0, but it's been a very exciting game. Omid Nazari cutting inside. 2 more touches to get himself in shooting shape. But Patrick Dato seeing it develop all along. You saw him shift 1 step right, and that's where he needed to be, even before Nazari took that shot.
As you said, positioning, getting the job done, not having to use reflexes, athleticism, or anything. As we have a double change soon for one Taguig. Oli Bias?
No,
I
that's
believe
gonna be
Sukasa's
offside.
offside. Still carried on there. High fives between the two.
Well, Patrick Dato said you still carried on, but I still got it.
And that's like still a mind game, right? Hey, it's already offside. You're trying to shoot, pero wala pa rin.
You know, goalkeepers have this thing that even during dead ball situations, they do not want to give you the satisfaction of seeing the ball cross their line.
So we do see that Dennis Chung will call it a day after a little over an hour of action. In comes Andres Saldeguer. And the other man entering will be Junior Sam. And it's Tsukasa Shimomura who will call it a day. Would you say it was a frustrating outing for Tsukasa?
It was. He got himself in the right positions, but more often than not, he was crowded out. Um, Saito spent a lot of time and effort marking him well and crowding him out. But this to me is a surprise. Martini Ray coming out for either Fitch or Belada or John John Melissa. Of course, John John very deadly left foot, but Martini Ray was doing well and fitness-wise didn't look to be struggling at all. But again, of course, they are traveling to Australia, which is a longish flight to play a game on Thursday. So Coach Yu Hoshide managing minutes in this game.
That will be a test to their quality, as we know. As Dato will send it long. Yamazaki chested it. Jovin. And to Marwin. Here's Junior Sam with his fresh legs. Also with Naoto Hiraishi. When Naoto started this game. So, Arboleda checked into the game. If we recall right, all of them are Fitch Arboleda. Well, with the... But I did talk to them also. Because I forgot the real or nicknames a number of times already. So you saw Arboleda.
How many Arboledas are there?
Actually not sure. Definitely more than 2. But the coach of UE is Han Han. And then our Fitch Arboleda here with Kaya is Noni. So I actually took the time to clarify with him.
You know, I grew up with some friends who were 4 or 5 brothers, I think, and all of them were named Prospero.
Why that name? Just curious.
I have
The
no
parents.
idea. You don't want to know the other nicknames we have in where we grew up.
Maybe let's just save it for off air. Oli Bias, Daisuke. They're trying to knock those combinations in. And Junior Sam couldn't get on full speed to bulldoze his way through. Shoma sending it. Akito Saito
Ooh.
sent it this way. There's a hit there.
A missed kick. A missed kick, which the Kaya player ran into and caught him. But Clifford Daipuya saying it's not a foul either way.
I believe he was on the radio also having a word with his fourth official in Jasper Herarman. His Camarade knocked it over to Shoma. They want to continue the traffic here right to left. It's Taguig in blue. As it was off of Akito Saito, Park will chase it and denies the corner kick.
It did look like Saito was trying to intentionally head it back to Dato, but it was wayward in the execution.
Oma over to Daisuke Sato. That's the Sato and Friends connection that we were talking about. As Oli Biaz got it to Naoto Hiraishi. Naoto versus Park. Park had to poke it away. Bias got it back from Nazari. You see how Daisuke Sato has been very influential in this game, trying to get forward and still trying to go left a number of times. Lingbo returned it to Sooma. Daisuke Sato lobbing it a bit to Oli Bias. Does well to control it. Shoot to Komaki there though. Pushing, shoving, grabbing between the two. Ang kulang na lang, Merry Christmas.
Looked like these two were dancing. They had hands all over each other, and again, it's a sort of hugging and touching that neither appreciates, but shows their competitiveness.
And the foul here was against Bias.
Well, Komaki did have possession, and he was within his rights to put his arm out to shield. Bias putting an arm over him and pulling him, that's what the foul was for.
That's what we were talking about, right? With looks being deceiving. So
Again,
Shuto Komaki will outsmart you.
unpleasant
outrun.
pulling and tugging by the half line.
They resume play here. Park will try to unlock this defense.
Good contest between Bias and Komaki on the near touch.
I'd like to see how this will go over the course of this game, without a doubt. I'd also like to see how Junior Sam will potentially make an impact in this game, because he is a newcomer here to One Taguig. With this stop and go nature, or there's this stop and go nature on the right wing. Park to Angeles. Komaki. Arboleda. Noni Arboleda. Simon Derota will give it to Dato. They'll try to stretch Taguig. Off of Shoma Sato. Omid Nazari saw Oma. Couldn't find Junior Sam. And that's why Kaishu Yamazaki will try to orchestrate. Lingbo cutting inside. Shoma. Seems like he thought about sending it long for a moment. Aldeguer was not able to handle that ball.
Miscontrolled by Andres Aldeguer.
We mentioned again the difference between the top two teams advancing to the ACL 2. Well, let's not forget the top four will compete in the finals, the final series, and then the champion will be given the ticket to the Shopee Cup, which is essentially like the Champions League for the ASEAN region.
And what that means is even if you finish third or fourth out of the double round robin phase of our league, you have a chance to make it to regional competition, to the AFF Shopee Cup.
I actually love this format because there's that incentive. You're not just gunning for the title, which is essentially your bragging rights, but these slots to play football at the international level as a club are highly sought after. So we are running through our replays here, and was that dangerous, or we are looking at the dangerous chances that One Taguig carved out. Well, here's another double change, and it is another double change for Kaya. And Mardiano will enter the game along with Eric Eso. And Marvin Angeles and Park will end their respective shifts because of what you said earlier. Kaya FC is traveling to Sydney, Australia to play on Thursday. Lingbo got it to Aldeguer, but they're still deep. And with the way that developed, it will be a goal kick for One Taguig. You are catching this game on matchday.ph, and a big thank you.
And Premier Football,
Oh, there you go. Yes.
if you're watching on cable.
It is One Taguig in blue and white, and Kaya FC Iloilo in black and yellow. So glad you could join us. Alongside Dennis Lucinda, this is Clara Manzano as we are bringing the commentary for this match. The winner here will essentially move up to first place.
Ooh.
And will get an upper hand in the standings.
Late challenge by Andres Aldeguer there on Yamazaki.
He's also a player you do not want to lose for the upcoming AFC games.
Nope.
Or AFC matchups.
Because Yamazaki had established himself as he was going to put out a long clearance.
And you also got, but with us talking about players getting injured, and then we have our teams who are playing international football. It was a big blow versus Maharlika when Rino Gautier of Cebu, first play of the game or so, fell awkwardly on his knee.
Yellow cards there issued against Nazari? Was that no?
Or can we presume it was Aldeguer for the challenge?
No, there were 2 yellow cards here on to the right. Aldeguer was nowhere near there. It was just off the ball, unwanted action.
But here's the press from Taguig, but Kaya did not falter. Aldeguer winning it here. Junior Sam, not on the same page as Naoto Hiraishi.
Miscommunication with Hiraishi.
Quincy gets this one. He has to be careful with his landing because he was at the edge of his box. But yeah, going back, Rino Gautier, first play of the game in local play versus Maharlika. Unfortunately, took a bad landing to his knee, and he's out for the rest of the calendar year.
What's the prognosis on his injury?
And we just clarified his knee, but the team did not provide further detail.
Reno has been a big presence at the defensive mid position, and that was really where, seeing the previous game, that's where he was missed the most.
And if it makes matters worse, Cebu was without Daniel Gadia due to a suspension for accumulating 3 yellow cards. Rintaro Hama, a winger, is also out for the rest of the calendar year for Cebu FC. And those guys will be missing too in that ACL2 hurrah of the Gentle Giants here at the Rizal Memorial Stadium in Manila. Eso couldn't get that ball from Arboleda. Well, here was Shuto Komaki. Simone knocked it back to Dato. Aldeguer and Junior Sam not keen on pressing. But here comes Naoto Hiraishi. This one will roll out of play. That will be a throw in from Diano. Cebu will be playing Selangor of Malaysia, to be precise, here on Thursday. As it's a whistle again from our referee. And then if we could run through our Mitsubishi Electric Cup calendar, we have 2 home games also for the Philippine men's national team, and then there will be 2 games away. The Philippines will be opening its campaign right here versus Myanmar, and they'll be squaring off on December 12 before traveling to Laos to play on December 15.
So their schedule is 12, 15, 18, 21.
Yes.
They open against Myanmar, and then they go to Laos. Then they play Vietnam here. That's going to be an exciting match. Then they go away to Indonesia. What is hoped.
Hopefully that's not the last game, of course, in the group stage, and that our team qualifies.
What's hoped is that you get 2 wins out of the first 3 games, and you have a good chance to make it to the knockout stage. The sacrifice that our national team is making is that for the players and the staff, if they do make it past the knockout stage, of course, alam naman natin ibang klase ang Pasko ng mga Pilipino, is that they will be playing and training throughout the Christmas holidays.
I remember 2 years back, our national team actually traveled on Christmas. As here was a fall from Junior Sam that Taguig supporters wanted a whistle for.
Saito knew very little about that. He was running away. Junior Sam ran into his back. But as I was saying, it's a huge sacrifice for the national team, the staff, the coaches, because they're going to be away from family. Diba? Sana naman, may 2 laro dito. Sana naman ang masuklian natin yung sakripisyo nila ng suporta natin dito. Diba? I said it, I was Our friend Errol Kabatbat asked me to come to his AM radio show early this afternoon. And I was saying, the Filipino community, the Filipino fans, should come into the Rizal Memorial Stadium and make it very uncomfortable for the visiting teams. I mean, alam natin, Filipinos are the most hospitable hosts. You know, we love having guests from all over the world, and visiting teams are guests in one way. Pero laro yan eh. Laro ng football yan. And when we do go away, it's very uncomfortable for our teams. So when they come here, it should, we should build an atmosphere where it's uncomfortable for them also.
Filipino hospitality put on hold for 90 minutes, right?
Yes.
As we've said also when we called the game versus Hong Kong with the Philippines.
Yes, because last Thursday when Kaya played Sanfrecce here, I hate to say it, but Sanfrecce won the battle of the stands, the battle in the stands. Their fans were in full voice, waving 20-foot tall flags. Pero parang sabi ko, sandali lang, nandito tayo sa Rizal Memorial eh. Bakit ganun?
If we could give any credit, it was the kids who were cheering on Kaya.
Well, Kaya's Academy boys are always there, and good for them. But the rest of their fan base, whether you're a fan of Kaya or just a fan of Philippine football, there's nowhere else you should be but here in Rizal Memorial Stadium. Kasi bahay natin to eh.
And essentially, they are carrying our flag. So it's not just about Kaya in this instance. It's about the entire Philippine football community, bringing in all the people we can. As Diano wanted to send it long, but Hiraishi showed us the grit in him, put his body on the line.
And here's a success story out of the Maharlika program. Lucas Del Rosario, who's in less than a year found his way from Maharlika into Kaya and then playing continental football.
Lucas Del Rosario actually got the start up front for Kaya in that game versus Sanfrecce Hiroshima. Now that we talk about it. But before Lucas Del Rosario, there was Christian Sea-Dog Schaffner who did it the year before in the AFC Cup, which is pretty much the precursor of the ACL2, right? These guys were talking actually on the vlog of Christian Sea-Dog Schaffner, saying they both took the same path, but the path which is a little off the beaten track, right? But kudos to what Anton and Maharlika FC have been able to put up over the years, contributing to the game.
Well, Anton and Ethan, make no mistake that their platform of Maharlika, they do manage to get players who play for free. And it's there for them to showcase their talents and hopefully get picked up by other clubs.
Amarilla, it's whipped back into the mix.
That looks to have gone off the head of BS.
But nonetheless, both teams saying it's our ball, raising their hand.
Well, I've never seen a football player say no, it's their ball.
It's the lying game. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, the referee, I think it was Simon Greatwich before when he was coaching Loyola Youth, who explained to his players that the referees have to make a split-second decision, and what you can do to influence their decision, you do.
It's to put it in their head, right?
Put it in their head, confuse them a bit.
Mind games. Yes, here's a look.
Komaki there, shot by an assassin from the top of LaSalle.
Look at Daisuke Sato. It's not for the fall there by the touchline, as you said. But it was, I believe, the tug.
Well,
In the more narrow
the
position.
tug was 5 seconds earlier. And Komaki's fall. But Komaki looked to have honestly stumbled on his own.
Yes, as we saw also from our vantage point. That's why Coach Giovanni had a word with our fourth official. As Chan Melisa whips it in! Oh my goodness!
A Jan Jan special bamboozling Quincy Camerad.
That was virtually an open goal. I believe Quincy may have misjudged it there, or was
It was. Again, it's one of those things where we were in the broadcast, we were talking about how Quincy Camerad finds himself in the wrong position at certain times of the game. And that one was it. As Konate polishes that left boot of Jan Jan Melisa. That left boot of his looking to be a special tool for curling balls into the back of the net.
Jan Melisa, his third of the season. Massive right here. Not his third of the season. That is confirmed. There you go. As I double check records, here's another look at that play.
Because Quincy was coming out, looking at the initial direction of the ball, expecting that it was hoping to be an assist for somebody's head. But there was so much curl on it that it found the near post, the inside of the near post.
Well, Oli Bias not happy. I believe it's because Melisa stepped over him. And you can see Shuto Komaki also came quickly to push him away. As here's the replay.
Okay. Well, Jan Jan came across. Momentum. Oh, and Bias kind of lashed out.
And kudos to Kaishu Yamazaki for being the cooler head there.
In that instance, Yamazaki was the peacemaker.
And with Jan Melisa, we did say last season, he racked up 6 goals, a far cry from the team's top scorer in Harvey Gayoso and the league's top scorer with 23. But they were important goals, and that's exactly what Jan Melisa provided today for the crew of Coach Yu Hoshide.
Well, with less than 10 minutes in the game, that was the breakthrough that this game was looking for. But there's still a lot of fight in this one Taguig team. They want to get a few more shots on target, see if they can get one past Patrick Dato.
And let's not forget that Jan Melisa actually came off the bench in this game to change it up for them. So far, so good.
So we were questioning why Jan Jan came in for what looked to be a still strong Martini Ray. And that right there was the answer. So genius move by Coach Yu Hoshide, putting in Jan Jan Melisa at the right time.
Do you think it's because they had Martini's number? So you put in Melisa, of course. It's not
I don't think they had Martini's number because Martini's number was forcing Camerad into saves. So no way that they had his number. But that was the perfect situation to put Jan Jan Melisa in for.
Oli Bias. Jan Melisa again, big goals here for this Kaya FC squad. To add to his 3 goals in this season, he also has 2 assists. Sato. Yamazaki got it to Lucas Del Rosario. Shuto trying to return it.
Just the wrong side of Lucas.
But there was a push from Diano on Andres Aldeguer. And after a while, it seems that they will just opt to play this one long. A little less than 3 minutes remaining until additional time in this game. It's the free kick again from Jan Melisa, the difference maker so far. Not a chance now, but it sails over for Junior Sam. I believe a Kaya player got a touch to it. That's why Clifford Daipuyat signaled for a corner. And yes, Rota is the man down.
Beautiful angle there from camera 6.
Or was it Simone Rota who just desperately sent the ball out and not a shot?
Might have been. Might have been. He might have gotten his foot ahead of Junior Sam.
And Rota will just shake that off here as they need this stop. BS wants to change that. As it is a corner again. Back-to-back corner kicks.
And I like seeing this. You know, it's very physical, but the referee not whistling for a foul. I mean, because you expect these corners to be physical. I don't get it sometimes where even before the ball finds its way into the box, the referee's already blowing for a push. Of course, they're going to be pushing each other. And Junior Sam being contorted in uncomfortable ways. This one a long corner. Aldeguer lays it off. Back. That's got to be offside. And it was for Amarilla.
In that process, it was Yamazaki.
I'm sorry, or Amarilla, as the more fluent in Spanish would say, like paella.
Sir Paella later for the crew. I'm just kidding. We had her.
Give me time. Give me 4 hours to whip up a batch.
Oh, okay. And as expected,
As we
Yamazaki.
see a very relaxed and happy Paul Tolentino walking across the production area, as happy as a 1-goal lead will make you.
That's happy but not happy, right?
Yun ang tawag nating lakad mayaman.
Pero yung masaya pero medyo hindi because a 1-goal lead is not safe,
Medyo
right?
kakabaka pa pag ganyan eh.
Pero nandun pa rin, syempre.
Andun pa rin. Siyempre, lamang ka eh. You gotta take the little joys in life. And a 1-goal lead is that.
Konting inspiration here in your Philippines Football League Sunday evening coverage. And for sure, well, just Kaya taking that joy. And they've been a little quiet as of late, but maybe also because of the tension in this game. Sometimes you just can't help but watch intently.
And Taguig will be making another change before the final whistle. It looks like they've called in a player from the warm-up track.
It's Solomon Okereke. And he's the guy we were mentioning. And he shows us the dance moves and brings it out every time he scores. He scored twice in 2 games already.
Well, that's better than Watara's. Oh, no, sorry, that was Junior's. Who was that was dancing on?
It's Watara who dances.
Sitting down.
The goalkeeper dances when his teammates score. But I actually asked the fans, ano mas trip nila dito? So I guess I have your opinion. As we have 5 minutes of additional time, as confirmed by Jasper Herarman.
So 5 minutes for Okereke to be a difference maker and get his dancing shoes on.
And if he does that, that will be 3 goals in 3 games. Definitely an uphill task here for Taguig against this well-oiled Kaya FC squad. And could we see this is where the international experience really just pushes them even more, makes them cooler. As there was Shoma Sato who took a fall.
Referee Clifford Daipuyat mispointed there. He did mean to call a foul on Kaya for, you know, it's okay to jump up. It's that act of getting your arm over the shoulder that is often called for the foul.
So in comes Solomon Okereke as expected. Then Naoto Hiraishi with the smart move of exiting in the further end of the pitch where he was closer, so that Okereke could enter and they could resume play ASAP. As there is this free kick, it's definitely from quite a distance. It's Omid Nazari lining up. Sending it, but definitely over the bar.
Sending it to the Ninoy Aquino Stadium.
Home run.
Home run.
Dato will be taking his time. And let's get straight to the point. He was trying to burn the clock in that game last Thursday, right? So he got a yellow.
Patrick Dato is a master of the what we call the whiskey tango.
Oh,
Of wasting time.
Sato trying to send it forward. Unfortunately, Junior Sam hasn't made an impact in this game. Flag is up from the linesman in the closer end though. Offside ang tawag dito versus Kaya FC Iloilo.
So everybody up. Quincy Camarad to take this. That means they're looking to get it to the danger area right in front of Patrick Dato.
There's less than 3 minutes remaining until we hit the 5th and final minute of additional time.
So lofted in. And that, if it's saved, and it is, just a throw in. Which Nazari will take.
Shuto Komaki wanted better. He wanted it at his feet, of course, so that he could bring it up all the way and waste more time.
And that's going to shank for a corner, which Oliver Bias will take. Again, 5 minutes of extra time, 2 of which is remaining.
Do note that Quincy Camarad is at the half line. So Kaya getting all of its field players inside the box. It was headed down. They tried to go for the bicycle. And Dato secures this.
Picks it off Okereka's head. Quick throw to Janjan Melisa. Quincy Camarad out. Janjan laying it off for Lucas Del Rosario. Lucas across.
Oh, what a slide right here to come up with the stop.
Desperation slide from, is that Oma?
Oli Bias.
Oli Bias.
Here's that play again. Now with this corner kick for Kaya FC Iloilo, they have a chance to burn the clock right at the corner. And as we talk about it, and as you tell us, it's in their attacking position. They're depriving Taguig of any chances to effectively test Dato. And as expected, Oli Bias is here. 30 seconds remaining until we hit the 5th minute. Okereke versus Lucas Del Rosario. Shuto Komaki knocked it wide. It's with Oli Bias now. They have to get it up. Well, Kaya will need to get its numbers down to stop or come up with a
Shoma
stop.
Sato on the attacking line now. Okereke putting it across. Nazari. Aldeguer couldn't get there.
So Akito Saito gives up the throw-in, which is all the way in Kaya's attacking end.
So the whistle now at fully at the referee Clifford Daipuyat's discretion, because we are past the mandated extra time of 5 minutes.
Amarilla, head tennis. Lingbo. Flag is up though here.
Flag is up not for a foul, but because Junior Sam had come from an offside position.
It's a 1-goal lead from John Melisa, thanks to that free kick.
A 1-goal lead that will result in a full 3 points for Kaya FC and allow them to leapfrog Manila Digger for first spot.
And do note, after this game is completed, Kaya will still have a match on hand compared to Digger and Cebu, who are currently in 2nd place. Well, in this instance, I'm not yet adding the 3 points to Kaya's tally. Shuto. Sato versus Del Rosario. Lingbo. Yamazaki. Nazari.
Flicked
Shoma
on
Sato.
for Junior Sam. Aldeguer running into space.
As that was a clearance, and eventually it's the full-time whistle. You could see it. You could feel it. The contrast of emotions on the pitch. They gave their all here. And that's why Taguig is left frustrated. But for Kaya FC, this is a massive step to chasing qualification to the AFC Champions League 2 next year. And as we see, Ultras Kaya approves of it. But you also got a feel for one Taguig because they gave their all. But this man, Jan Melisa, gave and provided the magic here for Kaya FC, the defending champs.
Magic is the right word if you see that curler of a free kick from Jan Melisa, the talismanic midfielder for Kaya FC, completely fooling Quincy Camarad.
And as you see, it was in the 82nd minute when Jan Melisa found the back of the net. We were expecting a service, right? From that Melisa
The
free kick.
initial flight of that ball was for service, but Jan, with that unique ability to put a lot of spin, a lot of curl into his free kicks. And I'm going to give you one guess, Claro, who our man of the match will be for this game.
Jan Melisa.
Jan Melisa, it will be.
No points for guessing, right?
No points for guessing.
Oh, man.
He came in at the right time. Quality, instant quality from Jan Melisa.
There's Ariel Cervantes also of Kaya FC Iloilo, loving it on the pitch. But sportsmanship at the end of the day, handshakes, and Kaya tops the table, 16 points in 6 games, still undefeated as we are showing you once more.
So there we have confirmation. Jesus Jan Melisa with a wide smile.
That goal again, a lone difference maker tonight at the Rizal Memorial Stadium. Like, as we were saying, Kaya tops the table. And let's get this. They have a match on hand over the other teams. So that is massive. But we will sign off from this one. Thank you for catching this game on matchday.ph and on Premier Football. And we'd like to give you a big thank you in behalf of the hardworking crew right here. And alongside Dennis Lucindo, this was Clara Manzano. As we brought you the commentary for this match. But we'll sign off and say goodbye. It is Kaya FC Iloilo 1, Taguig 0.